Deeds?
Here. Here.
Vogel?
Here.
Triplett? Here. Bowersock? Here. Sires?
Here.
Approval of the agenda. We have a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Anyone in the audience here to discuss items that are not on the agenda? This is your opportunity. Great. All right, we're going to, do we need to approve the minutes or that? Okay. Oh, yes, thank you. Approval of the minutes from July 18th.
Make a motion to approve as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? One abstention, please. Anybody else abstaining? Okay. 6, which is considered motion to recommend Northwest Hug Drive.
I'll start and jump in. Developments. Is not here. The gentleman that is looking at bringing this property into was received about a week and a half ago. This used to be the Sally Jensen Farms. Sometime about 15 months ago, the Sally Jensen Farm area was split from the rest of the area. Sally Jensen still lives in that area that has a 1 on it and is sold area number 2. Both of these properties have made application for annexation into Polk City. This is 100% voluntary annexation, which lets us do quite a speeded up annexation procedure.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that, in addition, is just to make you aware, or if you remember, when we did the TCI Plat 6 lift station, it was done to serve Big Creek State Park and also to serve a service area north of Hub Drive. So this actually this area would be served by that existing lift station now. So putting that in place did kind of help open the door for this annexation and eventual development in this area.
To add just a little bit more, if I may, Madam Chair, the process that the city has to go through is a bunch of notifications following favorable recommendation by P&Z. Council will look at this at their August 22nd meeting and set public hearings, and then look at this again on September 12th at the public hearing. I would also say, as part of the comp plan, this area being considered to be part of Polk City in the future.
Just out of curious, the lift station that was installed, how large of an area can it serve? I mean, you can serve this one here, but how much further could one go?
Not a lot farther either to the north or it would serve the parcel to the east. Let me see if I can read the name of that property owner.
It's Berger Farm.
Berger Farms. It can serve that and maybe a little bit to that's about the extent
Well,
of
I
it.
mean, that's just part of expansion. If we were to do, say, 15 years from now, go further out or something, we'd have all those issues to deal with then.
Okay, is it capacity or gravity? Does it would it not go there? Is that why it would?
Yeah, part of it was gravity. I mean, looking at the
Okay.
topography.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Actually, the very, very north edge of this kind of starts draining the other way, based on looking at LiDAR and my recollection of from several, 15 months ago. But it can all be worked to drain in this direction. So there is enough depth in the sewer to handle that.
And I had another question. Looking at the map here, it looks like there's a small strip of land that is owned by the Childs and Tri-J property. That would be on the west side, just a little sliver coming in.
That's a very good observation, Dennis. Letters have gone to both of those property owners. It is our attorney's opinion that they do not need to be as part of the annexation. Although one of them is only 33 feet wide, there's not a whole lot of use of that property. Letters went out last Thursday asking to have a conversation, to talk about adding them into or do a subsequent annexation for just that parcel of land. I have heard nothing back yet.
Well, it looks like if further expansions would solve that in the future, maybe.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, quite honestly, if you go to the Tri-J owns the property to the north, and the Childs actually, they kind of own that long strip, and it goes all the way up to whatever that next street is. I'm 138th, I don't, anyway, whatever it's up clear up at the north end of Big Creek. So if either one of those larger parcels would come in, obviously we'd have them bring this in, and neither one could block the other from annexing. So so at least neither one is a blocking, or spite strip or whatever you want to call it. Neither one would fall into that category.
And how those little strips of land ever came to be, we'll probably have to go back to, it probably goes back to the time when the Corps was buying up this land.
Be my guess, somebody held out.
Well, when you see 33 feet, you and 66 feet, you think right of way.
Right away,
But-
or access or
Yeah,
something.
But they kind of don't really, there's a jog in it too, so even that doesn't quite make sense, so, yeah. I don't really remember they own that, I don't know.
Any further questions or discussions? We have a motion.
I would make a motion that we recommend to council acceptance of the voluntary annexation of the Jensen MJR annexation for the land located north of Hug Drive and east of Big Creek State Park, commonly known as the Jensen Farm. Subject to engineers' comments dated August 9, 2016, which are really quite limited to accepting petitions from the petitioners.
Second?
Vogel,
Yes.
Triplett,
Yes.
Bowersox,
Yes.
Sires,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Hankins.
Yes.
Great, we will now move on to item number 7, which is consider motion to recommend approval of rezoning approximately 59.41 acres owned by MJR Development LLC from A1 agriculture to R1 single-family detached residential.
For the record, Madam Chair, on August 5, the letters were mailed to property owners within the city, that's within 250 feet. Our code says any rezoning, and when it comes in as ag, as we heard from Ron earlier today. And they're requesting to go to R1, and I do not believe there was any written or oral comments.
Is that just one property owner?
It's actually 3, but they have received consent from TCI, Nat Properties, and as well as Sally Jensen.
Okay.
But you don't, the other properties to the north and the east are not in the city, so they're not notified or, I mean, they just, quite frankly, are treated as neutral. Same holds true with Big Creek State Park because they just take a neutral position on annexing, or on rezoning. The rezoning is in conformance with the comprehensive plan that calls for this to be low-density residential.
You know, I mean, it's kind of not germane, but do they have any anticipated timeline on when they may be?
I think they're looking at possibly a lot or two yet this year to start building on, and then a subdivision plans will probably be in front of the P&Z sometime this winter, early spring. I think that, I don't want to talk for Jared, but I think their intent is to get through that process and get started with next year's construction season.
Yeah, we have had some discussions with Knapp Properties on getting the water main through what will eventually be Big Creek Valley. Is that right? I was going to say Big Valley. Big Creek Valley. To get it up to Hug Drive.
It is a big valley.
Any further discussion or questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I would make a motion that we recommend to council that should they accept the voluntary annexation that we have previously recommended and go forward with that annexation, that when that land is brought into the city of Polk City following the annexation, that is brought in with a rezoning, taking the property from A1 to R1. And that is for the 59.41 acres, which I believe excludes the current farmstead. And that is also subject to engineers' comments dated August 10, 2016.
I second it.
Bowersox,
Yes.
Sires,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Triplett,
Yes. Great, let's move on to item number 8, council liaison report.
Yeah, I have a few things here. The council, under the Park Commission's recommendation, voted to put a trail in Linear Park, a winding trail running in there from north to south. It's going to start out as mulch and just give people another option, something that park to be used, and some talk was about benches along that trail, and there's a lot of activity with walkers and joggers up in that area.
Where's this again?
The Linear Park, the one behind Adams, between Adams and Parker. The land we was talking about earlier.
Oh,
It'd
okay.
be,
On Parker.
it's along Parker, it's south of Washington and north of Davis.
Okay. Make it mulch.
Pardon?
Mulch, you said? The trail would be mulch.
Yeah, to start with. Apparently they didn't want to spend that much money on paving right now, but maybe in the future. And also, just some history on some of the discussion we had earlier. There was a parks meeting 5-6 years ago, no longer than that. I think it was 2001 or something over here fairly well attended for a meeting in Polk City, and one of the survey questions asked the people there if they would rather see small neighborhood parks or one large park, and they unanimously said small neighborhood parks. So just to let you know, that's where that came from. And we had a park, goes way back, Krista and I were probably the only ones who remember this, that failed. Only because, not because we're old, because we've lived here a long time.
Seasoned.
That was in behind, was called Peanut Gallery Park. It was in behind the nursing home, and we ended up giving the land to the neighbors because it was one of those ones that there was a path between houses and back quite a ways. And one of the complaints I heard was from moms, they couldn't send their kids there by themselves because once they got back there, they couldn't see them and that part. And they went so far as to have some playground equipment in there. But it failed, so that's just one of my,
That's interesting, I did not know that.
just part of my
That land's
history.
for sale right now, too.
So I think that's something we need to consider as a council when we okay park ground, but I think it needs to be very, which you guys
we need to.
agree
It has to
with.
be out in the middle, so everyone can look at it. See that.
And that's all I have.
Staff report?
I have nothing.
All right, commission report? Anyone?
Just a couple of questions when we were talking about parks. Reminded me a few months ago I'd asked about a trail connector perhaps from, how can I best describe it, from where the church is being built on Broadway, West Broadway, essentially from the east side of their property, a connector being built across the ditch to the entrance to the parking lot for the Neil Smith Trail.
Bridge.
Yeah, thank you. Bridge, on West Bridge Road. So on West Bridge Road, where the church is currently under construction, about on the east property line there, a connector just essentially across the ditch, which would likely wouldn't be by the developer. It would clearly need to be, I think, by some other party, likely the city or the county or state, since that's actually their road. Just curious if anything ever came of that.
It has been talked about. It's been talked about in staff meetings. One of our concerns is we're going to have a properly signed and going across, so we'll have to work with the DOT with that. And that's one of our to-dos. Yeah, the DOT has been a whole lot of fun to work with on the 415 project, and I'm hoping to get that past us and we can go on to better things. But we'll probably have to make an application and then try to get it signed and painted and that type of thing. So that's in the works.
Okay.
We may need to
I'm
look
still
at
seeing a lot
site
of-
distance too.
seeing a lot of
I know there's some
activity.
site distance issues there, so I suspect that the DOT will want us to do some evaluation from a site distance standpoint, I would guess.
And I'm not sure that would necessarily encourage more traffic through there. It just would make the traffic not be walking on the road, which is where they're currently walking, for the 200 feet or so to the east. And then, so it's only to try to make, so if there's a site distance issue, well, those same people are currently impacted by that site distance issue. And we're trying to make it less of an issue for them. Also, just as I was making the motion for the rezoning, it dawned on me, is the farmstead then coming in as A1?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, and it will retain A1.
okay.
Kind of a shame to see the loss of that farm ground, but at least it's contiguous to a city as opposed to a development out in the middle of farm grounds.
With no other business, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
We're building to
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Well, first